What's up, everyone? My name's Robinson. Welcome to my channel, Word on the Chain. Thanks for joining. It's a beautiful sunny Wednesday here in San Francisco. Today we're going to be talking about the insurance industry, specifically why it's ripe for disruption by the blockchain and how to invest and make money off this coming trend. So diving right into it, the first thing we want to understand, number one, is how can blockchain be applied to the insurance industry as it is today? Number two is, is there a legitimate problem that needs to be solved when it comes to the insurance industry? And number three, can blockchain solve that problem? So we're going to be talking through those three questions and then going over some specific ways to invest in the overall insurance industry and blockchain applications. So when we think of insurance today, it involves a few different parties. You have, first and foremost, the customer or the consumer, which is typically, you or me. Then you have the brokers. These would typically be the people that are actually selling you the insurance. And then the actual insurers themselves. So these are the entities behind the policies, the companies that are ultimately measuring the risk involved with issuing you a policy or covering you for whatever insurance it might be, health, auto, life, flood, etc. And then there are also additional parties that can be or are involved in the insurance process, but these are kind of the three main overarching ones, at least that we'll be talking about today. So now the reason I bring this up in general is that each step in this collaborative process and getting insurance, being insured, figuring out what works best for you in terms of insurance, it's very collaborative, involves multiple parties. So each point or each party in each communication involves a possible point of failure in this overall system where information can or cannot be lost. Policies as well can also be misinterpreted. I know a lot of policies to this day for some insurance companies are actually still written on paper. And then also settlement times are lengthened. That when I say settlement times are lengthened, it's the amount of time it takes for you to get a payout for a certain insurance claim. Like if someone hits your car, you need that to be covered, whatever it may be. So the first potential problem when it comes to the insurance industry today, and I think this goes for, and we're going to be going over three, by the way, but this is the first one. And I think this goes for most, applications that the blockchain can solve in general, but is fraud. So first problem is fraud. Insurance fraud is a huge, huge issue. And that's not just from one individual party. This is across all parties involved in the process, and across all types of insurance. Like I said, health, life, home, flood, whatever it may be. And actually, according to cbinsights.com, I believe the total cost of insurance fraud, not counting health insurance, which is a huge part, in the U.S. is estimated to be 40 billion with a B a year. But by moving everything onto an immutable ledger, ideally insurance fraud will be easier to avoid or harder to commit, depending on which way you want to look at that one. But definitely a problem that can be solved by the blockchain, and obviously a huge problem currently. The second thing we want to look at is efficiency. To file a claim and get the money that you're owed, or just get approved for insurance in general, can take an unnecessary long time due to the multiple parties involved and the antiquated systems that these insurance companies are using, like paper. So that's really where something like a smart contract will come in to make the entire process more efficient. That way, if something happens, like an accident, an insurance claim needs to be paid out to a certain individual or policyholder, it can happen more or less automatically instead of having to go through a number of different parties and verification processes. That can be shortened and a lot more simplified. And then the third one, in terms of blockchain, problems, or excuse me, insurance problems that can be solved by the blockchain, is last but not least, and again, this is similar to fraud, that it's kind of industry wide or multiple industries it's seen, excuse me, is data accessibility. You know, for instance, coordinating care with health insurance is an industry that is notorious for functioning on partial data. Hospitals and health insurers don't typically share patient data to begin with, you know, especially if you go outside your network. If you have Kaiser Permanente, for instance, and you're at some random provider or dentist that's not included, or doctor. However, with the introduction of blockchain, doctors and health plans would be able to share, cryptographically secure medical records between each other and ultimately improve the quality of care to make people healthier, which would decrease the premiums when it comes to health insurance in the long run, because there wouldn't be as many health concerns to begin with. So data accessibility, the last one there, obviously of huge importance. And insurance executives have started to come out and say even that blockchain could lead to a decrease in premium costs overall, which would be, in direct correlation with a decrease in the administrative costs by, taking out some of those extra steps from communicating to the insurer, to the broker, to the consumer, and the process with it takes to file a claim, et cetera, et cetera. Less administrative costs overall. So I thought this was interesting as well, kind of touching on insurance executives. In an article I was reading here, and you can see on businessinsurance.com, the VP of claims at Allstate, I'm sure this is a company that most of you are familiar with if you live in America, had actually said, and I quote, "Blockchain has the potential to revolutionize underwriting." So this is a bullish sign for me, at least, when you see an executive talking about how the industry that they specialize in, this specific space that they've been working in for probably decades, if they're at the executive level, they're saying that blockchains can a potential benefit for insurance and the insurance industry as a whole. So definitely a bullish signal in my opinion. And another kind of interesting article or project, I guess you can say, that was done that I want you guys to check out was PWC, the consulting firm. I'm sure some of you are familiar, some of you might not be. They do a lot of research-based consulting, partnered with Multichain. And they have a really great video. I'll link to it in the description below, but it really takes a deeper dive into some of the use cases and what a process flow would look like when it comes to setting up a blockchain for insurance and in some of the insurance specific areas like health insurance, auto insurance, and things like that. But definitely check out the link in the description below. It's about a 5-minute video, but really gives you a good idea of what the future could look like. Okay, so now, obviously we've identified that there's a problem and that blockchain is a potential or legitimate solution to the problem. Now, how can we become an early investor? How can we, invest in potential solutions, or who's solving this? What are some projects that are pretty far along when it comes to the insurance industry and the blockchain and where they connect? So for today, in today's video, we're going to be talking about 2 projects that I definitely think deserve a bit of attention. The first one, and the one that I personally like the most is EtherRisk. EtherRisk, in a nutshell, really wants to be the blockchain for all things insurance. So essentially, the Ethereum for insurance-specific dApps, or decentralized applications. If you go to their website here, you can see immediately some of the demo apps that they have that I encourage you to try out or check out. It's really cool to see kind of use cases right off the bat. But here's a social proof insurance one, which we'll touch on a little bit here in a few minutes. Crop insurance. They also have a flight delay app. So definitely encourage you to come to the site and take a deeper dive into EtherRisk. Their ICO is actually going to be any day now from what their FAQ said. And don't be confused, by the way, right here where it says TGE registration on their website. That is really just their way of saying ICO. So I think they, want to stray away from using the term ICO. I guess I can't really blame them with all the scams and the fraud and stuff around that term. But Really, it's just their ICO. So, if you want to sign up by the end of this video, here's where you can go. You can go to their FAQ as well, which is right here, and they should be able to answer a lot of your questions here. So read up on the white paper, check out the team, possibly sign up for the ICO. Could be good diversification for your portfolio. The second project I want to talk briefly about is InsurePal. InsurePal is a social proof insurance company that is utilizing blockchain in a similar way that EtherRisk is. So I want to take a step back and talk about that social proof insurance word and concept, which is actually something that's really interesting to me. If you aren't familiar, the main idea behind social proof insurance is that your friend can endorse you or become liable for you as a policyholder in a sense, and become partly liable. So if you were to get in an accident or to file a claim or whatever it may be, the main idea behind social proof is that your friend or that person would pay out that claim, or at least part of that claim. They can kind of vouch for you as being in your social circle, and really the main driver behind this idea is that if your friends are insuring you for multiple things, right? We can be insured for a ton of things, but let's say auto insurance right now. So if for you not to get in an accident, the idea is that you would be a lot more accountable and responsible than and you wouldn't want to waste your friend's money, for instance. Personally, if I knew my friend would have to pay out $2,000 if something happened, or whatever it may be, I'd probably want to avoid that at all costs. Whereas if it's just a company that I'm already paying for, I probably wouldn't care as much. So this is a pretty revolutionary idea. It's like a revolutionary idea on top of a revolutionary idea with blockchain, but it's definitely something to check out. It's kind of controversial, but it's certainly interesting. But when it comes to InsurePal, the platform and the tech look really promising. They have a lot of good descriptions here on their website. Let's check this out. So their videos here, these two, definitely check them out. I definitely think this is a big player in a smaller blockchain insurance space now. They're kind of ahead of the game, so could be a good possible investment. And you can actually invest in them right now. Their token is IPL, and it's currently you can currently purchase it or invest in it on CoinMarketCap. Or it's currently on CoinMarketCap, excuse me. You can go to the exchange and invest in it. So two great options that I encourage you to start researching and possibly invest in. Obviously, when it comes to investments, there are inherent risks, right? I mean, that's what investment and investing is. If there weren't risks, everyone would do it, and if there weren't risks, there just wouldn't be an option to make money because everyone would be doing it. Therefore, it's self-fulfilling prophecy. Anyway, apart from that, this is investing. There are risks, and if I were to say, what I think would be the largest risk, especially when it comes to insurance, but also most cryptos, right, is regulation, which I'm sure we're all familiar with. But just like the finance industry, the insurance industry is extremely regulated. So this would definitely be a longer term hold at this point. But a nice thing to diversify your portfolio with, especially if you're making riskier trades or holding a lot of riskier coins. So definitely check it out. These are two kind of early players in the industry space, or the insurance space, when it comes to blockchain. So just keep this in mind as you go forth and invest. And as always, I hope you found this video useful. I hope it kind of opened your mind up to a few research and investment ideas. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button. Definitely want to be a resource for you in terms of knowledge and possible investments and making money. And if you're returning, a thumbs up would be great, or a comment. Would love any interaction. So thanks for joining today once again, guys, and see you next time. Bye.